What's happening? Benson here. I don't know if this two phones thing is going to work. StreamYard doesn't seem to, yeah, maybe. Let's see. Well, I'm here at the rest area, as you can see. Where are we? Somewhere in Indiana. Let's see. Can I show this screen without doxing myself? So, this is the tablet with my government mandated logs. I get to sit here for 12 minutes since I need to log a 15-minute pre-trip inspection. Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see Mr. Woody in here, Dark Glasses Woody. I saw Tommy was live with Truth or Cop, and I don't know what EBT. I saw EBT was in there and in the live chat, and apparently Tommy's annoyed with EBT. Now, was that because EBT was scheduled to go live last night and did not? And EBT has a history of saying that he's going to, maybe join a broadcast or do a live stream, and then, that not happening. So this is not unprecedented, Tom. But yeah, hold him to account, certainly. There we go. Good to see you, Gary Baxter. I wouldn't say that I'm tired this morning. A little bit of fatigue. Ran into a lot of road construction in Indianapolis yesterday. And again, here we are in an information age, and the fact that I forgot, to check the Google Maps traffic ahead of time. Why is that something that needs to be performed manually? Oh, but 2 miles before I'm into the, gridlock traffic, there's a sign saying that, oh, well, such and such road is closed up ahead. And I don't, it's not like I have Indianapolis memorized or anything. So I ended up going all the way around Indianapolis, which I don't really think added much time because of the backup was going to be bad either way. Maybe I added 10 minutes to the journey, perhaps. That stuff just wears me out. If I'm nearing the end of my shift, and typically since I like to drive at night, the fact that I'm even driving at 5 p.m. I think it says a lot about where the world is at. But yeah, why can't the technology? I'm paying for this. I'm paying however much a month for my trucker GPS on one of my 4 phones here, and why doesn't it know ahead of time when I'm selecting the route? Why doesn't it say, well, actually, there's a big delay on this route that we're giving you, so maybe you could consider this secondary route. Nope, that's just too much. Asking too much in an information age, sir. And I understand how people's brains work. Just me verbalizing this, many people will just immediately their brain will seek the valid reasons why, this is a thing that cannot happen. It's like, well, of course it could happen. I understand that it's not going to happen, right? But it could happen. It is not, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Oh, it's coming, Tommy. I've just got some things to get off my chest. But yeah, the link is coming. And as much as Tommy gets accused of, you know, ingesting certain substances, I believe Tommy's demonstrated a great deal of patience over the time that I've been interacting with him. Certainly. What's up, Rob? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm. And good Lord, man, it's not that interesting of a story, but I'll say this. When I was trying to kill some time because I needed to complete my 10-hour break, and this is a tight delivery window, so my hypervigilance and my responsibility kicks in, and with me preparing all my own meals now, I woke up way earlier than normal. Plus, we had a time zone change, so I lost an hour in the time change, and then Not that I don't even really care if the loads are on time anymore. Although with my personality, generally speaking, they will be. That I almost always pick up and deliver on time. But when they tell me that I have a window I can deliver between like 8:30 and 2:30 p.m. Sometimes that 2:30 p.m. means if I miss that 2:30, then I'm not able to deliver until the next day, which isn't always a problem, but we'll see. And I'm need to do my grocery shopping at some point today. Um, but I was incentivized to push forward yesterday because of the 30-minute mandated break. So because I drove enough hours yesterday, and I never had to take the 30-minute break, and then as long as nothing goes wrong, this says 7 hours and 37 minutes of drive time until the delivery, which I usually do better than the estimates. So I'm like saving that 30 minutes in a way, if that makes sense. Just truck driving things, right? Yeah. There you go, Woody. Well, here's what happened. So, I do like to keep the windshield clean, and I apply Rain-X. Rain-X is very helpful, not just for the rain, but also for the bugs. The bugs come off the windshield so much easier if one occasionally applies the Rain-X treatment. But in a big rig, that necessitates opening the hood and climbing up on, the steer tire. Uh, so, but even before I got out of the truck, I realized it's 3 a.m. I'm at a rest area, and rest areas attract weirdos. Okay, for whatever reason, and it always have historically, as far as I can tell. So it's a magnet for weirdos, and then transients or stranded travelers, and then these truckers, some of them, and there's a lot of jokes made about lot lizards, but that implies like lady or man. Let's be honest, these days, lady, person of the night, earning their living, selling their body. But it seems to me in the internet age, most of that, the meeting, most of that seems to be facilitated online these days. So the days of just these people hanging out at truck stops trying to sell their bodies. It's I'm sure it still happens, but it's mostly over with. But what does happen is, people who maybe become mentally ill, and I'm talking about women specifically, because for a man this is a completely different dynamic. But for a lady that's involved in homelessness or drug addiction or whatever, or just trying to hitchhike or travel or go somewhere, there's always a man who's willing to help out a lady in distress, right? So the damsel in distress trope. Hang on, let me keep an eye on the time here. Yeah, I got 4 more minutes. I don't want to need to roll out right on time. Actually, so I know I understand all of these dynamics, and then my many years living in the streets with nothing, and then encountering all these street people and a lot of homeless ladies, and any woman who's there's no such thing as just a homeless woman and then she needs help and can't get it. Like there's always somebody that will put a woman in a house or let them stay with her until she's proven herself to just be so deranged and insane, that now she's out in the streets because nobody will have anything to do with her, for the most part. And then the type of people who want to even try to, like we saw with Talcott taking these drug addicts into their homes. My experience was after a while I got to where I just wouldn't even go to somebody's house. Even if they seemed like really nice people, it's like normal, well-adjusted people don't. They might help a person in need, but they don't bring them into the home. It's just not a thing that happens. Hmm. And ultimately, the only mistake I made was that I wanted to continue listening to YouTube videos, so I had my over-the-ear headphones on. If I had maintained my sense of hearing, this really wouldn't have been a problem. But because it is difficult for somebody to sneak up on me. Maybe you see where the story's going. So I decide I want to clean the windshield and apply the Rain-X. And I realize it's possible that someone, a weirdo, might try to approach me. So I'm monitoring the environment, which I would be doing anyway. And some fucking broad sneaks up on me from behind and starts talking to me where I can't see her. Where I can't see her, folks. And, even if I wasn't undiagnosed autistic, with hypervigilance and, sensory, type of, sensitivities, right? Especially auditory. Meanwhile, I couldn't even imagine approaching a stranger at 3 a.m. at a fucking rest area. Like, this is insane. This is already insane behavior. And now I'll also see how people's minds work. They say, well, maybe it's an emergency. Okay, maybe it is. Call 911 in an emergency. Don't call Benton. Benton is not on call for emergency. If it's an actual emergency, don't call Benton. Call 911. Oh, well, maybe she wanted to use your phone to call 911. I'm sure there's some form of communication built in. There's a building over there. I'm certain there's some kind of way. There's a call box. There's something, right? Meanwhile, what type of lady doesn't have her own phone? I damn sure don't want to talk to a woman who can't keep up with the phone. Now I understand from living in the streets, people that live in the streets, phones are free, but sometimes they're between phones because everything gets stolen, especially when a person is a drug addict, right, and frequently just passes out, and then the people come and steal from them. This is just a normal thing. This bitch, 3 in the morning, and there's a few people out and about, but not really. It's just mainly people going back and forth to use the restroom, truckers. And then occasionally a car will come in and the person will go in. They'll either, maybe they're looking for something in their car because they're on a road trip, or they go in and use the restroom. And it's really all that's happening. But before this, I'd gotten out and thrown some trash away. And as soon as I got out of the truck, I noticed this big fat guy, but he looked like he was probably in his 30s. But, and for some reason he was shirtless, which is strange. I don't know that I've ever noticed a shirtless man at a rest area. I mean, now it's already weird, and he's walking a dog. I guess he's taking this dog. I guess the man's going to use the restroom, and the dog, let the dog use the restroom. And again, well, I guess we better see. I'm already forgetting myself. Apologies. Let's roll out, and then I'll continue this story, which may not even be interesting. But give me a second here. Where are we at? We got to tell the government that the rig is, by law, I must tell the government, or by policy and code, I must let the government know that the equipment is safe to operate at least once every 24 hours. Okay, mission accomplished. Let's roll out. All right. Lot Lizzie, yeah, there you go, lot lizard. Yeah, that's a lot lizard. It used to be a well-known, it used to be. Oh wait, I forgot. Since I yelled at this bitch, I want to make sure nobody tampered with the rig. I'll be right back. Autobots, roll out. That's right. And I've referred to these people in the past as space invaders, and this was something that I really encountered a lot in my many years of homelessness, living in the streets. These people that they cannot respect anybody else's personal space, And you know, the more danger, the more potential danger that I perceive in a given situation, and I would say 3 a.m. at a rest area, you know, on a major interstate or on an interstate, you know, my head's already on a swivel. And you know, the fact that she approached me from the rear, where I couldn't physically see her. See, uh, so let's just assume that this lady, and I think she was fairly young. I mean, I'm getting old now, so it's hard to tell, but she was definitely younger than 40, but older than, she's probably 30, I'm guessing, just if I had to guess. And did not look too rough, right? Like, so maybe, you know, I'm thinking maybe she's, you know, in this drug addiction, you know, quasi homeless type of thing, and maybe, you know, and to back up a little bit, so I've noticed a phenomenon every once in a while, and it's usually the black guys that do this, but one of these truckers will meet one of these transient type of broads at a truck stop somewhere, and then just make that his girlfriend. And, you know, now he's taking a crazy bitch all around, you know, truck driving and taking her to the shippers and receivers. So he's basically, you know, transporting around a piece of pussy, more or less. I mean, let's call it what it is, right? Which I don't care, you know, do whatever you want. It's not my concern. Uh, More power to you. Now, so when this lady sneaks up on me, you know, I had not made any connection to the fat guy, and I'm talking about actual like C-cup breast fat guy, right? This it just reminds me of the chemical attacks that especially the males are under. You know, you know, the nightmare dystopian beast system has chemically attacked his chest, right? I should have took a picture of it, and can't even drink my coffee because of the infrastructure's crumbled. By the way, makes it hard to drink coffee sometimes. And just here's a tip, folks. And in fact, you know, I did a fair bit of panhandling in my homeless days, and I preferred to just make a sign, a cardboard sign, because that way, if I could find a place to post up, you know, that I always whatever bothers people the least is what I go for personally. You know, I don't like to intrude on people, and my thing is if I have to approach. So if you're a stranger and I'm in a position where I feel like I have no other alternative but to approach you, you know, my view of that is I'm intruding on your day, right? So my way of doing this is if God forbid, I had to actually talk to another person and ask them for something, you know, I would always do it from the front. I would make sure they saw me, you know, and I would stay far enough away where, you know, they could not attack me and I could not attack them, because it's very off-putting to invade someone's space and then, you know, and try to talk to them, right? This is very off-putting. And meanwhile, this is probably how she met this guy. And, you know, I'm a terrible storyteller. My apologies. So I'm sort of giving it away here, but probably how she met this fellow on some level. Uh, and then ladies sometimes, and you know, she may have been attractive, you know, in the past, right? Possibly. Who knows? And then again, she could be a truck driver. I mean, that's another thing. It's hard to say that she wasn't a truck driver necessarily. But if you've ever been like at the Dollar General and you see one of these ladies like wearing kind of a baggy T-shirt and like pajama pants, like this kind of broad, right? You know, but you know, not unattractive and not, you know, filthy and not stinky. Well, so this is very jarring to me, right? And so, you know, I turn and I communicate with my body language like, hey, this is my space. You've entered my space. You know, let's make sure and not come any closer immediately. And then, you know, what can we do to start getting the fuck away from me, right? You never know what somebody's got going on, right? Meanwhile, I'm armed, lest we forget. You know, so So now this woman is literally sneaking up on somebody who's dumb enough to have earphones on, headphones on, so I can't actually hear her for the most part. And so I kind of whirl around, and so I just point at her and point, away from me. I say, "Get away from me." But I do this kind of in a neutral fashion initially. It's like, it's not rude, it's not aggressive. It's just like, hey, point at her and point, in a direction away from me, like, hey, this is my area. You've entered my area. Get the fuck away from me, right? Or I said, like, get out of here or something. Well, and then what we've seen is, with all roads leading to narcissism, and the most people psychologically cannot, they can't cope with being viewed as in the wrong or having done something wrong. So then she just tries to stand on what, and I still have no idea what she was asking me for. But by now I've taken the headphones off, and I'm more or less just like glowering at her, if that's a word. I'm just like, and then part of me is like, well, what did you expect, Ben? Like, do you really think, what made you think that you could clean your windshield in America at 3 a.m. at a mostly, there's really no activity happening for the most part at this rest area. It's like the off hours of the off hours. Meanwhile, if it was daylight, the 3 a.m. in an area that's associated or should be associated with danger, that would tell me, hey, let's not even go talk to people. This is not the time to go talk to strangers. And then again, if it's an actual emergency, call the police. Call 911. Don't call Benton. Call 911. What can I do? And I'm certainly not getting involved in anybody's affairs, especially at 3 in the morning. But generally speaking, it's just like, well, that sounds like your problem. Like, let's just say I stood there and heard her out, whatever her sob story would have been. And most likely she was trying to ask me for money or a cigarette. I didn't even think about that. Wanting to find out if I have a cigarette. My thing is, well, okay, if somebody's dumb enough to smoke cigarettes, I would assume that the responsibility would lie with them for, obtaining the cigarettes and making sure they have the cigarette, when they first wake up in the morning. Now, meanwhile, if for some insane reason I, got into a position where I had imposed and actually startled, I won't say I was scared. She startled me, though, to some extent. Certainly if I made this many faux pas in a row, such that a complete stranger directly told me, hey, get out of here, I think I would just get the fuck away from them. And I would probably be like, oh, my bad, sorry for bothering you, and I'll shuffle off. And in fact, when I did, the rare times I did approach a stranger, if they showed any hesitation whatsoever, I would just sort of, make a gesture and just, it's kind of hard to explain without you seeing what I'm doing, but it's certain like a hand motion and just a kind of a bowing of the head. Oh, sorry to bother you, have a nice day type of thing. Because again, I'm imposing on them, right? And here's my favorite thing is when somebody, comes up to me in some way and then they don't like how I react. And it's like, well, hey, you don't have to be that way. They're telling me. And I'm like, hey, you came up and talked to me. Like, what? It's like I react however I react. You like, just imagine the unmitigated gall of people. Like this woman really believes she's entitled to, certain specific reactions. The thing is, as someone who grew up in a religion where I was made to go knock on doors and talk to strangers, dude, they just react however they react. I don't really have any input into how the stranger reacts to my intrusion, or she was free to walk all the way around. Like, let's just say she happened to just be let's just say she got out of the truck because I think she was in a truck with this guy. In retrospect, let's just say she got out of the truck and was going to the bathroom. Now, and next time I definitely won't park overnight where I'm anywhere near the bathroom. I can assure you of that. So most of this is my fault for poor strategery. So I will own, some amount of that to make sure I'm not missing any exits. 265 east. Okay, I know. We're almost to Louisville. That's where we're at. Probably ought to just go right through the city, but it looks like we're taking the bypass. So now, like she's kind of startled, because who could predict, a this reaction from a stranger, right? Which leads me to believe that the general public has done her a great disservice because I have to think that she has some measure of experience approaching strangers and asking for things. Um, which to me, why isn't she better at it? Because again, if she did just happen to notice me because I'm the only person dumb enough to put themselves in the position to be approached at 3 a.m. at the rest area, so that's on me. She's still free to walk around me and wait until I see her, and then she could even kind of motion to me, right? And then if I don't want to be bothered, I could just sort of wave her off, like, no, I'm good. You know, it's just, dude, these people are, and I really do. I've disliked humanity for a long time. Oh, are we offline? Oh no, I see what's happened. The cell phone mount is just not going to work, is it? It's just not going to work. I did a poor job of mounting up the phone here. Did a very poor job. We're just going to have to purchase another. Probably going to have to purchase a new mount. Yeah, this is not. It's not going to last. It's going to fall over again. This double-sided mounting tape, which actually works pretty well, but just this is. I'm not that handy. I'm not as far as building shit or putting shit together, and so the placement's a little awkward. So I failed to get the base of the mount. Did not make it squarely onto the mounting tape. Is what happened. Oh well, we tried. Yeah, I will. I almost never fail for lack of effort. So then after I'm like, hey, get out of here, but not in a rude way, but dude, these people are so narcissistic. Anything short of just rolling out the red carpet is like now she's just like deer in the headlights, can't believe that she's just being flatly told to get the fuck out of here. So now Hello, am I back? Apologies, I think I was gone for a moment. Am I back? I think I am. Well, and this is, looking back on all the live streams I did with my previous job, it's actually pretty amazing that those went as well as they did, because since I've been, the few streams that I've done driving recently, it seems like I've run into way more issues for whatever reason with technology and such. And the phone mounts and the just various aspects of what's going on here. Yeah, my icon has stopped vibrating. Okay, we're back. I don't. Who knows? Who knows? Numbers are dropping. Benton, get it together. So now she goes up to him, and here's where, this is a phenomenon I've noticed before, where, if somebody, so the fact that I yelled at her, right, and we can debate whether or not, you can basically, I don't know, it's hard to say, you know, triggering somebody's potential fight or flight response at a 3 a.m. at a truck stop is probably just not a great idea. I don't know that it's on me. I would say I control myself fairly well, all things considered. That would be my view of the situation. As we traverse the destroyed infrastructure here, get bounced around. So now she starts giving him a hard time, because apparently it's his fault that she's out on foot at 3 a.m. Approaching strangers from behind. And I hear now he starts yelling at her, and I hear him saying something about, "I was walking your dog," which I just found hilarious. You know, it just reminds me I don't want anything to do with people. I don't have no desire to have another spouse or another significant other. Or the reality is, I'm a man of a certain age now. I don't really need the companionship, and I'm not obsessed with sex like I probably was at a younger age. I'm just not willing to put up with other people's shenanigans. It's fucking shenanigans. Well, and I could almost see some version of maybe they're like kind of both looking at me before he starts saying, "Well, it's your dog" or whatever. I can see where she's kind of giving him a story maybe, and I just stand there like, I'm just standing there just directly looking at him like, I'm trying to communicate with my body language like, I know I haven't done anything wrong, and don't you dare come back over here. So I almost feel like she's trying to, entice him to come settle my hash, right? That'd be a bad mistake. You don't want to come over here. Just, but it's just, I knew, man, before I even got out of the rig, I knew it was like, what made me think that this was an option. Now, ultimately, the headphones was really my only. That was it. Just me being a little too greedy. I want to listen to something while I'm, doing this task. How dare I? How dare I? What was I thinking? Anyway, I've not been able to read the chat. I noticed my eyesight has not been. My eyesight has been declining the last few days. That's a bit of an ebb and a flow with my malabsorption. Since I do get taken to task about the fact is some portion of the audience believes I'm just faking these illnesses. But, you know, we can debate whether or not I'm dying, but certainly I'm not absorbing the nutrients and haven't been for quite some time, or not fully absorbing, and that does affect my eyesight. So like yesterday, I was able to read the live chat from this distance. Today I'm not able to. So, I don't know if that's because I, worked a little later than normal yesterday, and I also probably got about 2 hours less sleep than I otherwise would have. Don't really know. Can't call it. More road work. Right lane closed. Another reason I prefer to drive at night. Although sometimes one does run into more construction at night because some of these areas do a lot of the construction at night. But overall, it's just way easier to deal with these things. Way less traffic at nighttime. And eventually, if I am physically able to keep up the truck driving, I'm gonna have to get a night job at some point. It just seems like, by the way, look at pre-pandemic. Why have so many things changed in society? We went from 24-hour Walmarts to no more 24-hour Walmarts. Right before the fake pandemic, in fact, I was still relatively new as a truck driver, and the job encouraged me to drive at night and work 7 days a week and run on recap. Whereas now, it seems like everything's set up for daytime driving. I just find the whole thing bizarre. Why was I able to almost exclusively drive at night before the pandemic, and now it's damn near impossible? And it seems like it's becoming more and more impossible without just running refrigerated, which almost always requires going to California, because that's where like half the fruits and vegetables are grown. I don't get it. I don't get it. What do y'all think? Well, and then Tommy talking about the Great Reset, the sidewalks. What about all these traffic circles? Dude, I've run into some traffic circles recently in some areas where there just should not be a traffic circle. It's fucking insane. Americans have no idea how to negotiate a traffic circle. This ain't Europe. Who thought that? Which does somebody had said that they think that those are actually for like checkpoints for the future. Future like checkpoints, which makes sense because there's Americans have no concept of traffic circles and what their purpose even is. Just people are distracted. It's just completely insane that there would even be traffic circles in this country. And sometimes in the big truck, I might want to go to a truck stop, or I might want to just pull off at an exit. And I always look at the exit, before I take the exit, I take a look at it on the satellite view. And if there's a traffic circle, I'm just like, well, no, we're not going that way. No fucking way. Yeah, that's right, Tommy. Can't be stopped. Well, it's funny because it's a 55 speed limit through here, but it's basically impossible to go 55. It's almost an impossibility. I don't have any need or desire to speed other than to negotiate the traffic. It's basically impossible to just go 55. Yeah. Although I will say, having spent a decent amount of time in Asheville, Gary Baxter, the folks who live there are probably have a better than average chance of properly negotiating a traffic circle. But even they are probably not great at it. I'm assuming. But um, I've been to Asheville several times. So I like it. And as much as I hate that section of I-40, there's no other route to where I'm going. So I'm coming through there, Gary. But we're not making any stops. Well, I'm making stop at a Walmart at some point, and I have to get fuel. But other than that, we're not making any stops. No time for that. What time does the GPS thinks I'm yeah making it around noon for the delivery. Yeah, I noticed that, Tommy. Well, and I would say that Paul probably has a keen eye for talent, much like myself, by the way, much like yours truly. I, I do tend to spot talent right away. I would, although that does kind of run counter to all the issues that Tommy and Paul have encountered in the past. I would put most of that down to what I refer to as personality politics. Well, especially for the amount of time Paul spends live streaming, I think he does pretty well for the most part. I have to say. Yeah, I mean, just this rest area story, which I know is not a very interesting story, but uh, and I get. Oh, by the way, a guy flagged me down. Uh, where was that? That was in. Fuck, where was that? Oh, Davenport, Iowa, on the on ramp. And I will help people if I'm able to help people. And this was daytime, and I wasn't, didn't really feel like I needed to try to protect my safety. But a guy, but I'm pretty sure he was a scammer. He looked like he might have been. He was some kind of ethnic, like a younger, well dressed, like Armenian type of guy, maybe something like that, something along those lines, and or even maybe a gypsy, possibly. I ended up giving him $20, but you know, I do give people money here and there, but he kept trying to give me his jewelry and actually tried to get more money out of me. Now that's what made me think it was a scam. And he was so aggressive. Although some of those cultures are aggressive by nature, but like, you know, aggressiveness that doesn't get anywhere with me. You know? So he kept trying to aggressively hand me his jewelry, and I was like, I just kept saying no, and I was like, I don't wear jewelry. And then finally I said, hey man, because I guess what his story was, he had his family in the car. He did have Florida plates, which actually I've run into these Florida scammers before, especially if y'all remember this speaker scam where they're like, hey, I've got these speakers I can't return to the store or whatever. You know, some version of it. Those guys, I've been approached aggressively by those guys before in Florida. So he's probably a scammer, which I don't even care about the 20. The $20 is when I'm working. That's neat. I just don't care about the $20. But I am frugal by nature. But you know, regardless, you know, if he got over on me, he got over on me. I'm not too concerned. But he was trying to get another $20 out of me, and I just said, hey man, don't make me take my 20 back. And at that point, he was like, oh shit. Then he knew I meant business, because I'm kind of implying that I believe I can physically take it away from him, right? You know, which I probably could if I was really determined, in spite of my illnesses and my physical stature. But and then I think by then, I think he realized the jig was up at that point. Then he had kind of almost like a guilty look on his face, like he busted. You know? Which I think is kind of that's almost worth $20 to me. But yeah, man, crazy motherfuckers out here. Yeah, which I don't even mind the aggressiveness, but it's like what I've told people is, yeah, what do you, if your plan is aggressiveness, what do you do when somebody just doesn't respond to aggressiveness? What's the plan B? I've noticed a lot of these people, there's no plan B, so they just try to continue with the aggressiveness. But it's like, yeah, I'm as aggressive or more aggressive than they are. So it's like, what do we do now? Like I'll just say no, and with no, I don't have any guilt, or like I don't feel strange about telling somebody no. And I think this does work on human dynamics, whereas a lot of people, they feel some type of way. Like if a stranger approaches them and asks for help, you know, I don't feel any type of way about it. And in fact, when he came up he climbed up on the rig, you know, on the window across, you know, the passenger side. So he wasn't anywhere near me, you know, and I am armed, but I'm just like, what do you need? Like, I'm not even going to listen to his story. I'm just like, what do you need? And I'm just like, what do you need? You know, you know, I'm just like out with it. How can, you know, it's like, hey, if I'm going to help you, like, just tell me what the fuck you need. I'll decide if I'm going to help. I don't want the story. Spare me the sob story. It's like, oh, I need gas. Okay. I said, I have, because I don't have, you know, I don't have any way to, I'm not going to take him to the gas station, you know, I'm not, but here's some money, you know. Oh, as I missed my exit because I'm running my yap. Oh, well, that never happened. See how many miles are we adding to the journey here? Only 4. It's not too bad. Might be time to bring on Tommy if he's still around. Since now I can't even watch. Now I can't even properly drive. Yeah, I'm on enough of a time crunch today. I don't have time to be missing exits. What's up, Tommy? How are you, sir?
Hello. And no, what's up? It's
Uh,
not my time to shine. It's just, it's getting late and I'm working on this. And if Benton wasn't going to let me hear my own vocals coming through my eardrums, I was passing out. I was like
I
starting to
understand.
nod with my like pen mouse in my hand. I'm like nodding at my own computer screen.
Hard at work on Spurg News, it sounds like.
Well, actually, I'm a little distracted by, coarse rancor and disgust for Canada and
Yeah,
Canada's like
fuck Canada,
citizen.
by the way.
Dude, really? Like, I know you got there late or maybe caught the aftermath. Me and Austin just dealt with the most pretentiously, obnoxiously stupid Canadian atheist I have ever ran into. Like, he started out seeming cool, and then just one time I asked him if he realized that his stance is reflective of the far left. And in typical fashion, he said, "You're accusing me of being a leftist. We don't do that shit on my intellectual channel." And it looped from there. He
Yeah.
was a very he was a very common thing that you've seen in these streets, Benton, where he throws everybody in the backstage and he says his piece about 5 times before he feels like he said it one time, and then brings us
Ah,
all then brings us all up so we can verify we fucking understand. But the thing you'll really love that I was surprised Carl and live chat people didn't catch on to as what I was intentionally doing, his rules was like, you can't bust on any fetishes, you can't say the N word, and you can't say the gay F word. But he was saying those words. So naturally, Benton, I needed those words clarified by asking like, so you said the F word, but I was saying it, but what was the other word and no fetish? And this dude's just saying it back and forth with me. And I'm like, you guys really don't get that he's saying the words and I'm asking him to say them again and he's just playing along. Oh my God, it was beautiful.
what channel is that? I want to check that out later, maybe.
Oh, it's called Brett with two T's. Like Brett, don't write two T's, but it's called Brett Broccoli. And it took me a second to find it because it's an emoji of a broccoli, but you actually have to spell it to search it. God, I hate that guy the more I describe the situation.
Yeah, fuck that.
Even if he was the most epic troll this whole time that has me going, you still threw me in your backstage and took heartbeats off the time I have here to sit through your bullshit. That's what I've had against other people too. Like, look, I get your point. I may disagree or I may agree, but you are just wasting my time.
Yeah, I'm listening, man. I'm having some issues over here, so
Yeah, and that was just dead space by me. I'm eating the last of this cheddar rice.
I got to make sure I don't miss my exit yet again.
And I've done that in my bus job, man. Whether by the passenger or myself. Like some passengers, you can tell they don't want to talk, and I'm happy not to talk. But some passengers get you really interested in what they're talking about, and then you're into it. It's like, oh, sorry, I missed your turn. And they're usually not mad because they know they had us all wrapped up.
Yes, sir.
It was usually me that had to worry about, am I still on schedule for the next one?
Well, trucking is so fucked up. The main problem is that it's so hard for these companies to find loads that don't lose them money.
Like you're guaranteed the hours whether they have a run for you or not.
Well, not really, but the way truck driving works, it's just if you've got a drivers are so expensive and so hard to attract. Once you have a driver and a truck on the road, they want to maximize that as much as possible.
Yep.
So
That's logistics and efficiency, and that's why they want robot trucks that just stay that regardless of a human's conditions.
So, I mean, that's why they end up, you know, the load that I was supposed to pick up the day before got canceled because of a nefarious broker. So then now they're in a desperate situation, and the load I'm on is it's fine, but it's just the delivery time is so tight that it puts me in a position that I'd rather not be in. But it's okay. It's just
So what almost drove me insane is over the first log. Like when I drove buses, I was on two separate times of lockdown, go home for a couple months and just get paid. Like
yeah.
the first time was surreal enough, and the act of going back to work and eventually going to it again, I knew America would never be the same at that point. But what drove me insane was the in between times. They'd take a number of us, and even though they might not have you scheduled for anything that day, just in case someone else needed a run covered or something, they'd strategically place us around Denver in different parking lots near bathrooms or food or whatever, and you'd just post up for like 8 to 12 hour shifts, whatever you were on. And if you didn't have smartphones, I mean, I went almost insane with a smartphone, getting tired of all the things you can do with a smartphone, and still just knowing you're stuck in that bus in that parking lot. Oh my god! But it was good money.
Yeah, I was actually truck driving through most of the lockdowns, or just in a motel drinking, one of the two.
Yep. Yeah, and they had us doing that so long that I just started picking a better spot as long as I understood what area they had me posted up in to cover who. At that point, I was like, oh, I know just a mile away, there's a much better parking lot with like a McDonald's and a dollar store and whatever it was I wanted. So I just started changing it up. And even though we were fully camera monitored the whole shift and GPS monitored, and the bus would even tell them if I slammed on the brakes or took a turn too hard, still never called me on it. And I was like, good, I think I'm getting it figured out.
Right
And so
on.
not to trash Talcott, but when I saw how hard it would have been for them to get rid of me from that union job, and even when I was challenged, I impressed the union rep and the assistant manager by going, no, just let me take my turn to talk when we get on the phone with the bigwig managers. And you guys know my style, or maybe you don't because YouTube doesn't get this side of me. But when we got off the phone, the manager and the union rep were looking at me like round eyed, like, dude, you just saved your fucking job yourself. And I was like, I was a district manager for far more stricter shit than this. Like, this wasn't nothing, guys. Oh, so what I'm getting at, I do not know what fucking story Jack Talcott isn't sharing with us about losing his union job, but it has to be secretable that he
Oh
won't
yeah.
tell us. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Big time.
I speculate that the loss of the union job and the family both run right into each other.
Yeah, he probably just went out. He probably went completely off his rocker.
Maybe the loss of the union job took him on the drinking binge that messed up some family relations.
Maybe, I don't know.
And usually I don't do this side of me that is for years my mother going home from church, calling up the same old bitch she was running her mouth to at church, and them sitting on the phone that whole Sunday afternoon talking about the same gossip they were at church till they could meet back up at evening church. You know, you
Yeah,
know, Benton,
yeah,
a little
sure.
a little hypocritical chit chat.
Yeah. Yep.
Benton,
Of course.
I think I offended you maybe toward one of your friends, but I don't remember the specifics, but I recently referenced some chit chat, and when you didn't get behind me on it like I thought you would. I was like, wait, maybe Benton likes whoever the fuck I don't remember talking about. Oh, maybe
Oh, there's no telling.
it was Miyagi. I was like, oh, Benton, that day that I was kind of putting it to Miyagi on my first time I talked to him audibly. Once I got off there, I realized Mr. Miyagi tied you up in a bunch of chit chat.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's
I
just
like
chit
talking to
chat.
him, man. But yeah, there's some good stuff in there, but sometimes it's tough to wade through the what you're referring to.
But I speculate that one of the things we have in common is the parallel. It might not be full on misogyny, but it's something that's misogyny adjacent, which would excuse men from a higher level of chit chat than we would excuse women from.
I don't know. I'd have to give that some
Shout to
thought.
Quantum Epic.
Yeah, I'd have to give that some thought. Well, the thing is, Miyagi actually he has some pretty fucking he has some pretty good understanding of some certain ideas. So I think I'm more willing to tolerate the chit chat when there's something else in there. I think.
Like a penis.
Well, I would say more of the idea, the ability to discuss actual ideas.
Okay, so maybe I'm misusing penis where it's that male logic that we could still maybe trace back and say penis. Because there are women that have it. Like there's two types of lesbians I've met. Well, I mean, there's more types, but I always thought before I knew a lot of lesbians that I'd just get along with them. Like, oh yeah, me and lesbian, we can hang around, just check out girls, you know? And some of them are like that. When I bounced at Club Q, I met some like that. But if they're not like that, they see you as opposition or
Oh
vagina
yeah,
blocking.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've run into that. But I will say this to your point. Most of the ladies I've dated have been ditzy type of chicks. So I do prefer women who are a little less inclined towards intellectualism. Although I enjoy talking to women who have intellectual ideas, I'm just typically not attracted to them. If that makes any kind of sense.
Right, because usually when a woman realizes she has a mental capacity on a male-ish touching, not any kind of tier, but something reaching those levels, they let it make them that kind of like, oh, it's like girls that are hot but don't know they're hot are always better to date than a girl that knows she's hot. So with the intelligence, it's a similar effect.
Yeah, maybe. I know. I understand what you're saying. Certainly.
It's kind of like girls always told me I was well endowed, and I'm like, sure, I bet girls tell every guy they're fucking. They got such a big dick. But then whenever my current girl had she was a fag hag to a cool gay dude named James Brown who was a party fucking animal. When he walked in on us, knowing he wasn't gonna get this dick and still letting me know, I was like, okay, now maybe I believe it. Because when people would say it, I'd be like, listen, ladies, I watch porn, all right? You're not extending any ego here. I'm no John Holmes. But then you start finding out, like, about other dudes in your small town area, and they start finding out your name's getting thrown around. And, hey, ride that if it happens, because there, there was a girl in my hometown that if you dated her, there's no way that people didn't know, no matter who she was dating. I was that guy for her that if she stopped by, she was stopping by. And even I personally was like, I don't know why anybody dates her because I know this is a common thing, as well as everyone else did that in our party circles. I'm like, damn, if you like this chick enough, you'll she had a boyfriend she used to make drop her off at my apartment. And he wasn't a bad dude, but I was like, how much does this guy hate himself? Or how low is this guy's self esteem? He wasn't weak, he wasn't ugly or stupid, but he was in her pocket enough she could have him drop her off at my house. God damn, that was weird, but I got mine.
Yeah, I hear you, Tommy.
Equal and opposite side. She'd always claim that I was the one she wanted, and I was never gonna date her because it's like, yeah, tell me that all you want, and I still watch you date different guys. So either you're pointlessly dating guys that you don't give a shit about, or you're not gonna get through to me, letting me know that you're gonna fuck another guy, just whether you prefer me or not. You're still just playing out what I'm not gonna buy into, you know? And sure enough, she's had a kid since then. I think she married the guy. Um, and even though I wasn't pleased with the way she got, especially after I was out here for years, she said some Facebook shit that I'm like, whatever. If I get double rich off what I'm trying to do with almost all my ducks in a row, um, I'll put her daughter through college. Just if her older sister says the word, I'd put her daughter through college just because her daughter's a sweetheart. Which reminds me, the daughter was the first kid she had. The guy she's married to, she had a kid with. But this daughter, that's a sweetheart, she had with a dude with the most sociopathic car salesman personality that I already would have busted his face on very short reason. But now I heard this man attempted to touch that daughter. And if that's true, he needs to never see me in this life again. Like, I will give her daughter that. Like, I got this history with your mom. I know she's probably not the best mom. You're a sweetheart little girl. And I know her sister, and I forget what my other friend's mom is to her, but they'd always take care of this little girl. And I'd step in and fill in college now that I know this dude possibly touched his own sweetheart daughter. Oh my God, I can't. It's like I'm reliving those feelings of I would slam my forehead into this dude's face over and over again until I feel his arms go limp from my neck or collar or whatever he's doing to try and stop it. I already rage about kid touching, much less your goddamn daughter. I feel like Ben Affleck from fucking Dogma right now.
Well, but I understand the sentiment, but then the person who was a victim of that, I think I would want to consider, well, if somebody violently attacks this guy, how does the victim process that? Does that
You mean his
reopen the
daughter?
old? Well, whoever. I'm not a. I have trouble following stories, so I don't really know who the people are.
Okay,
And you
and
don't.
I did,
Well, hang on,
I
hang on. You don't
did.
need to. You don't need to rehash it. The point I'm making is, I have a person in my family that was a victim of a crime, and a person went to prison. And the thing is, maybe I'm not saying that there aren't people who might want to do that person harm. I'm saying that on some level that could be a very selfish thing to do because how does that affect the person who was the victim?
Way ahead of you too, because
Yeah.
um, I did say if, guys, because I'm reading the chat and he wishes he didn't hear the story. I wish I didn't know the people that could possibly be that. Like, I hate that that's one degree of Kevin Bacon from me. Um, so I will say if, because I'd have to hear it from the daughter or have to have the older sister be like, yeah, it's true. Because the thing is, the older sister does have custody of her, I think, despite the sister being in that area. But she's a much better person to have her because that's the sister that bought the mansion when I was still around, and I got to find that actual secret society men's club shit. That was those sisters. But I definitely take that into consideration, Benton, as far as disposing of him and feeding her a story. And she always called me Uncle Tom. Like, she has that love for me. So I'd let her get older and maybe be on my deathbed and let her know that I killed her daddy. But if he really did it and she remembers it, oh my God, I'd still say I did it. I hope you're not mad at me, but I'm not going to tell you I'm sorry, if that shit is true. And I think it's true because he left town and started a different family. And when I really be honest and a fallible human, it's been long enough that there might have been a time I knew it was true and I might have substanced it. I might have pulled a Jack Talcott to try and not think about it and succeeded well enough. It's a foggy memory.
Yeah, yeah. Well, where I finally got to with my the person that I'm close to, that something happened to them. Eventually, it was just like, yeah, but this happened to them. Like, it's not. I don't really have the right to sort of take over that story and insert myself into it
I
as
would
much as I
say
would,
that,
as much as I would like to.
and I agree with that on the whole personal responsibility thing, but
Well,
we're
I don't.
talking.
What I'm saying is, if I was able to protect her, I would have. What I'm saying is that once it all happened and the guy went to prison and now he's out of prison, it's not really for me to insert myself into that would be for me to kind of take over her thing. Like, it's not. It just wouldn't be appropriate.
Okay, and maybe I am leaving out number one. I'm not sure this guy ever faced consequences. And I forgot that I have told you guys the story about I went to protect a couple of drunk friends that were partying. I showed up sober. This was the night that the gay party kid had a wrong number to Cumberland, Maryland. And if you guys don't know Cumberland, Maryland, those motherfuckers were willing to come to Kaiser 3 a.m. to fight people over a fucking wrong number that a drunk gay boy like leaned into his wrong number and got sassy with him. So I came out just my sober ass to make sure these Cumberland guys weren't going to bring a mob or pull out knives or whatever they're capable of. And the dudes I were protecting or joining in with to match the numbers up, they abandoned me in the middle of it, and that was my first get double teamed. When I had my dude handled, like I was like, yeah, I'm rocking this dude. If those guys are fine, I'm fine. I didn't know they had split, and one of them was coming to full Nelson me from behind and let the dude I had already fucked up have as many shots to my face as he wanted. And then when he tossed me over, I almost had my neck impaled on a, a cable rebar that was grounded out of bullshit cement. I have a scar on my neck where I just fucking caught it on the way down. If he would have tossed me an extra inch or two, probably would have impaled my neck on it and killed me. So her dad, he was one of them that dipped out like a scared little bitch. And at that time, he had been showing off his jujitsu. And what do you think you do about this? And I was always showing him that, like, at this point, I would just mash you in the face and hopefully break your jaw before that arm bar is locked in. And he understood what I was saying and why I couldn't just smash him in the face to show it. Because that's the thing about jujitsu is you can practice and not hurt each other, but still practice pretty hard. And you can't do that with kinetic striking. You have to pull punches and go easy because you're just sparring.
Did we?
Uh,
Hey, do we ever know what your astrological sign? Your sun sign is?
you mean the typical 12%?
Well, yours, yeah. The what do you call
Yeah,
it?
I've always said I'm Aquarius. That's why I'm all
Oh,
about
okay,
dick girls and stuff.
nice.
I had to lean into that Canadian dude because he thought I was calling out foot fetish people. And I was like, dude, you're talking to the guy that leaves people questioning if I'm serious about dick girl jokes. And you think I got a problem with any fetish? And like, I openly tell a story of how I hit on a Filipino dick girl for like 2 months before she finally told me she was a dude. And then I was cool with it because goddamn did she pull it off. She had the bubble butt. She had what I didn't know were fake titties. And since her Filipino parents let her get on hormones at like age 7, she literally just developed as much an effeminate as I guess if she had, I mean, she still had a dick according to her, and I took her word for it. I know what you guys are thinking. I immediately reached down in her pants and pulled her to the nearest bathroom. But it was DIA. You don't just do that at DIA. Maybe at Colorado Springs Airport, I might have done it. I mean,
Pathetic warrior in the house, by the way. Always good to see Z around.
yeah, Z's cool, and he shouldn't hate himself for loving me. He should love me better and hate that
Oh,
he doesn't. But you don't just go pulling dick girls into the bathroom when you walk within 5 feet of a Freemason's time capsule. Every time you go to work, I would walk past a Freemason's time capsule. And I think that shit's supposed to be opened maybe within the next 5 years. Oh my God, what if it lines up with 2030 and a reset so big it might be considered a great reset? And you open the Freemasons time capsule, and it's like, how's it going, Klaus Schwab? How's the plan going for this year? And you're like, no. And that time capsule releases the third epidemic that they'll want to jab us over. Oh my God, I'm on a whole other level right now. We're tapping second wind, Benny.
uh-oh.
I think you brought that up like right after I'd left the panel, but you were talking about how after you stay up so long, you hit that second wind, and it's like then you're good till you have to sleep that night.
Oh, I get straight up manic if I don't sleep. Yeah,
But also,
feels good, man. Feels good.
right, like in that second wind, you almost get some kind of mental boost. Yes, I agree.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I avoid it, but the fact is, mania is it's enjoyable for the most part, in my experience.
And this is kind of what I've been doing, I think, lately is like, because I noticed this was happening back when I was tweaking. It's like it was easy to find yourself in that because you didn't realize how much sleep you were losing because you're still on substances. But now when I do it with only weed or sober, it's like that second wind is where a lot of this editing uh drive is coming from. Like if you subtract all the dumbasses on YouTube that need these bombs dropped on them as soon as possible, the rest of it is that second wind type inspiration.
Indeed, sir. Indeed.
Piano Man, it's a queer ES.
Yeah. There you go. You really got to see the whole chart, though. I'm betting there's a decent amount of Scorpio in the chart.
I think there is too, because as far as dating women, Scorpios and Aquarius are usually a no-no, except for those times of exception. And I can, even though me and hetero dudes aren't about each other, I can still read that in Scorpio dudes. Like it's fine if a Scorpio dude hangs out, but I read the thing that it's like I couldn't take that difference with a woman that wants to live with me. But if a dude has it, it's like dudes don't always even buy into the astrological personality shit, much less care if it's real. Yeah, there, Gary's a good example. Like me and Gary get along and vibe, but he occasionally says a thing or refers to me in a way that I'm like, that's that Scorpio shit right there. It's like Gary's still cool. Let a bitch get like that with me in her context and escalated bitch level. Like even on dating sites that display the astrological signs, I'll strike up a thing with a Scorpio, and maybe it's to the point that I'm leading in assuming that I'll get what I think, but it's usually pretty obvious. And whatever is good with Scorpio, like all the fucking personalities, it's like, I'm sure it's great. And I don't always understand why it says we wouldn't be compatible, depending on what psychic or source you're referencing, but there's a lot of personality shit I've read about Aquarius and me, and also seen in other astrological signs with like friends and stuff. That sure, some of it is the well, that can apply to anyone, but some of it I feel is like, even if a Crowley Satanist context, pretty accurate. Because we can all look at our friends. Like, you can look at your own signs and think, like, yeah, that's you. And then you'll have a friend that'll say, well, me too. And you're like, nah, dude.
Yeah, exactly,
Nah, dude, not you.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's a broad general thing for sure.
Well, and also people have a tendency to hear traits that they would like to be them, and oh,
Yep,
it's suddenly easy to see.
yep. Very true.
So if anybody's in the chat that was at Truther Cup when I did that cracker ass trailer analog attempt with putting the microphone on the laptop and then filming the TV, how did that work out?
Yeah, I missed that part, unfortunately.
No, you just have to fast forward through the shit that you didn't have to sit through live, Benton, and it's easy to
That's
find.
right.
Because I
Indeed.
did it on Truther Cop. He had left the Canadian, and so it's not that long a stream. And he let that Canadian show up and waste most of it. Oh, I just now got to some of this chat. No, Talcott Clips, it is not good for you. But like when Jack earlier was talking about how certain emotions can give you those chemical reactions to like break you down and kill you young or give you cancer. I'm kind of wondering if that is valid, which I think it could be, as much as it's just not good to sit around and be mad all the time. I don't even have the energy for it. I think that if it's the proper time to have a disgust with your fellow human or whatever it is he was describing, I think when it's proper, it probably doesn't have too much ill effect. If anybody's reading what I'm not trying to code or anything. Okay, so did you just highlight Talcott Clip's chat?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Because I'm checking the backstage way you look at comments, and I never realized it makes it blue on this backstage comment list.
Oh wow, yeah. I was
I
not
was like,
aware
did my
of
finger just hit the screen? Did I just fuck something up?
that.
'Cause I don't know if anything happened when I was showing that video, but I had accidentally backed out to my home screen. And so I screamed no and jumped back in, and it was still going, but I don't know if it affected the replay. And Z, I'm working on it, man. I do right. It's like, along with the big dick disbelief, I know how much I am confusing, but this stupid fucking atheist Canadian, he came out the gate referring to me as performing mental gymnastics. He wasn't saying I was confusing. He wasn't saying I was full of shit. He was saying I can't keep up with your mental gymnastics. And then he degraded into calling me a fucking retard. And it's like, dude, I am laughing you. Like, he's just a walking hypocrisy and he doesn't even see it.
Yeah, exactly. Many oblivious people I've noticed.
But Benton, I don't know your religious beliefs, but when you started, you referenced beast system, and it's what I've been saying. And I know you've been referencing it, but I haven't known, like, are you full on like Jesus-y or what?
Oh yeah, big Jesus guy. I try
Okay,
to keep
cool.
it to myself, but yeah.
Right, and that's why I've been going around these streets saying, well, I don't really call myself that Christian word because of what I agree with the haters that you people have done to the label Christian. You've like, even Toilet Bowl Earth is one of those shit tards that it's like, yeah, like we want to think of Toilet Bowl Earth when we think Christian. And I'm not one of those people either, and I'm not trying to like front to you guys, I am Christianity. If anything, I'm like the most pettiest wrath that God is capable of. Maybe he's using me for that. Maybe I'm a chosen one, but only for the pettiest of holy intention. The lowest tier of troll angel or something, like, hovers over me. But I gotta say, season 3, uh, I don't like to toot my own horn when I say I am on fire opening season 3, but beat, you know? It,
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm listening. The driving is becoming challenging, so my
dude,
attention is
stay on the
diverted.
driving. Dude, definitely do that. You never get shade or ill vibes from me over talking back and forth because I'm one of the only motherfuckers always knowing that you're driving back the first time you were doing this.
Right on.
You're talking to a fellow bus driver that didn't have all the cool CB and camaraderie shit. We just bitched about the job and got fucked by it. But we did radio each other and shit. If you could keep the like corporate cut in from getting annoyed by it. Yes,
Yep.
Gary, like Christ like, or I've also said Jesus follower, or I follow the teachings of Jesus. And when they're like, oh, but you're not a Christian, but you follow Jesus. And I'm like, I mean it in the context of a 33-degree level Mason privately told me it doesn't matter if Jesus walked this earth, he's still representing that the closest thing to the one true religion, no matter how it's been modified, no matter what's KJV added or retracted. He said it's still the closest thing and gives you the things you need to do uh, of the one true religion. Because some of those truths they hide is that everything is just an attempt at the one true thing everyone used to went by that is no longer the way. Exactly, Rob. And are those his followers? Are we being dickheads or dumbasses for saying, and I know it was, who was it, Gandhi that said, your Christians are so unlike your Christ or something like that? Like, can we push them away that long knowing they're just doing it wrong and we are not trying to do it? Are we still taking bullshit on that you could get a little toasty over if not for the cleansing blood of that show off of a son? And whenever I stop, sometimes I'm pulling the phone back so I can squint and read the chat with a portrait stamp.
Aha.
Oh yeah, Rob, I've been meaning to ask you. Your take Avatar, is that Photoshop, or did you just is that your full picture popped in, or just tell me before I ask too many options? I forgot that motherfucker's literate in typing. I can somehow just hear Rob's lovely voice replying to me immediately instead of me waiting for him to find a keyboard and plug it into his phone. Ask his white friend if he can borrow a keyboard that he can plug into his phone and tell me what's up with his fucking cool picture. Trying to make movie pictures with cool memes and sounds for you, Rob. I need you to reply to me in a timely fashion. All right, LOL, just my head crapped onto the photo movie poster. Way to do it in two chat, Rob. I feel my inner Zetetic warrior surfacing. Even if I lost that footage of him just staring during the crunchy thing, I know I can always go back and grab it because he's a stand-up dude that tapes it live and posts it. And I've always respected that. Feel like going back and looking for things on a certain channel that I was a part of and knew that happened, it might be a little incriminating. Unless I'm getting bad at finding stuff, sometimes I feel like someone might have took the time to go back and remove some of my special times that I made quite the showing on a man's home turf, but it doesn't matter. By season 3, man, I was telling Talcott clips today in the chat because I don't care who finds comments and reads them. I was telling Talcott clips today, just between me and Paul's beef, I'm realizing I can just turn on his stream at any time or go visit at any time, and the stuff said right then will just unlock more connection. Oh, I remember when they contradicted that. But these days, it's like, God damn, in the same breath, on the same point, he can hit two contradictory things and say that's him. But the Canadian atheist really hit home the same effect of like, it's not really Paul. It's that no one in the chat will say they get what I'm saying. You people are fucking insane. It's like statistically, some of you should just disagree with him whether you get what I'm saying or not. But it's like day after day, at least when I'm there, 100% of you will at best not say anything in solidarity with what I've said. Oh my god, I'm loving it though, guys. I'm like season 3, baby. And if you heard the video, my maniacal laugh about Toilet Bowl Earth didn't have a place at the welcome table yet. He didn't know the good news. And then a maniacal laugh. I'm last minute throwing in me some shit. My camera didn't come on for effect. Fuck you, phone. Throwing in some crazy era Tom Cruise GIF laugh motion. Because if my mic was working, you know it was comparable to some Cruise. Dude, if no one's watched the HBO special, maybe it had a title like Coming Clean. It was a title that kind of sounded like Coming Clean, but it wasn't.
Going Clear.
Oh, thank you, Benton. I think you've even talked about it before. Dude, I went in for like, come for the What's Up with Scientology. You do not, and I mean, those who didn't see it, you have no idea what Scientology did to the Tom Cruise Nicole Kidman marriage. These people sabotaged a man's marriage, set him up with another wife that he didn't really have too much interest in the long run. But the whole time, our boy T to the Cruise, he gave us Top Gun. Top Gun. The whole time, they were just blowing Johnny Football Hero smoke up his ass and creating medals to give him in his honor. And he's like proof that you can just take a man and do that too much. And you saw what happened. And you might think not you, but look at Unslavia. I mean, he took Harlow from like the muted guy, everybody would just laugh along and let him talk muted. And I think he left because he saw Paul was trying to take him as new Johnny Football Hero, like trying to take him up that ladder. And I think even Harlow was like, sometimes I question if Harlow was as good as me at like showing up every day and feeding him something. Because if he is, like, God bless him for just running his mouth day after day on mute. Like, that's more commitment than I have. But you've seen...
I think Harlow might have actually been on meth.
Possibly. I don't know how ex-Navy are. I mean, if Navy can go gay that easy, I used to look for gay dudes for good meth. I won't say that's out of the woods speculation. But also as a past user, I feel like we're always reading people because there's an uncanny thing where you're not thinking about it when you and another current or past user spot each other. I've never met another past user or current user who I've done that uncanny, I knew you, yeah, and then you know each other, you too. No one ever knows how that happens. You don't know what you're picking up on, but you pick up on so many when you are around them long enough. Like if you're at a job with one, you'll find each other. Or on a long bus ride, you might realize the guy you're sitting with.
Yes.
And that's the difference in, whenever I was really catching heat for it in these streets, I would always throw in, like, I wonder how many high school spazzes are standing with me in solidarity of, we know you're not current user, Tom, and we haven't even tried the shit. You just remind us of us. Like, I remind me of me too, when I would have been lining up with them to roll up some fresh D&D characters on paper. Good times. Oh my god, you guys want some D&D nostalgia? Had a little hole in the wall D&D store for a short time, as in maybe 3 to 5 years, because he eventually had to shut it down because he married some fat bitch that's not gonna give us the life I married you for. Actually, he was up and coming. This is a good one you can use, Benton. Went from cozy little hole in the wall store, which I preferred for a comic book shop you played D&D at and crap, but he started to come up and got the one down the street, which was more room, better for comics and selling shit, but way too fluorescent, like typical convenience store tiled floor with fluorescent lights. It killed the D&D nights of that cozy, snack filled uh, older building with more earthy colors to everything and carpet and shit. Lost that, but she still made him shut down the fucking fluorescent one and move to another town, get a fucking job somewhere, pump out 2 or 3 boys, and they were all redheaded like their mom. And this was a man who had his traced roots back. Okay, at the beginning of Highlander, the what they call the clans, or the houses, whatever. Yeah, I think they called clans. The one that the fucking 24. God damn. The Mel Gibson. Jesus, all I could think was anti-Semite comments. The clan that Mel Gibson's clan is fighting at the beginning, this dude was a descendant of. But apparently he knew me when I was a baby in my first church with when my parents took me wherever as a baby. So we were really cool in this comic shop. Anyway, the cool thing I'm getting at finally is there was a point the cops. Oh my god, it's the cop that would die during my fucking later years. And I mean, I didn't get a cop killed, but he was after me. Like, and I always was like, does he know this is the dude from the D&D store that knew his son who's in the Marines and shit? He was on me. Like, if you left my house when I was a swag lord, he would pull you over. Or even kids that left on foot. Shouldn't say kids. I didn't say kids. But like, you know, early 20s. I still call those kids. And God, don't even get me started on Zoomers. I'll call them kids till they're fucking 45. I'll call them kids till I die. But anyway, this cop had to come tell us we weren't allowed to do our sword fighting in the back parking lot. And we were the poorest of what you'd think it is in West Virginia, which was wood boakins. I was using metal Raphael size that you could get out of martial arts catalogs and shit. Just a little dulled down because doing katas at competitions and shit. But if you needed them for self-defense, they were heavy metal, even if not the sharpest, like Raphael's. And all we had was like pulling it, like trying to end with touching each other, but still slowly getting better to be more aggressive in the strikes and lead ups, but always trying to pull it to not really hurt each other. And because we're good old boys, sometimes you do, and it's an accident. And most times, especially with Boakins, sword fighting Boakins, it was usually fingers. It's usually the fingers holding on to the damn thing. But we were having good times until the cops made us stop. And I should have known America was dying because you know why they said we had to stop? Just people that could see us feeling uncomfortable. It was West Virginia. And like late 90s, early 2000s. No, it's probably 96-ish. Now, because it was while I was in high school. So it wasn't even too late in the 90s. I should have known. Should have known I'd live to see Beast System. I mean, it's always been Beast System, but I should have known I'd live to at least see the confusion of end times. This is the biggest thing, Benton. The biggest thing you would have took away from that Canadian shit. We started out where when I realized I was Jesus follower and he was atheist, I was like, oh, dude, so can you, just for my own to see, like, would you agree we are heading in tyrannical overseer directions, regardless of the reality or not reality of any given religion? Would you agree these steps are equivalent to what Revelations is saying it'll get to? And it's like he said, yes, he sees the overseer plan, but he would not acknowledge he sees a people that are confused and oblivious to it. And he said he doesn't see chaos happening. And I'm like, dude, even if you want to call it propaganda, you can admit it's all they show us to our faces in the news. You're telling me you see no chaos or confusion? But by the end of the stream, when he keeps backstage and everyone, he's talking about the endless, stupid, confused people that confront him on his channel every day. And my head fucking exploded. Like, that's why he'd be the epic troll. If he gets it the whole time and he really walked me down that road just to not say to my face as he explains that he gets it while not acknowledging that he gets it, that's some good notes for anybody that wants to be a troll to take. Regardless of this guy is fucking retarded because Canada sells it. We all know Lou Bass, people. We know that dude's not trolling. Canadians are fucking retards. Shout to Brian O'Shea. Brian O'Shea, if you're listening right now, bro, you know I've always hated on your weak fucking stand up shit. You know I didn't buy into that Kill Tony. I don't believe you went on. And if you did go on, I think you bombed. And I said some displeased shit on even my De La Punta interview. That's still the way I feel and how I felt you were in the wrong with it. But let me tell you, Brian O'Shea, I see you. That day you trolled it like, hey, Zetetic Warrior, OTW, all you flat earthers, come at me. I'm coming for you, flat earthers. And when we all showed up to see what's up, Brian O'Shea, you killed it. You killed it, Brian O'Shea. I worked with retards like 8 years of my life, Brian O'Shea. If I've looked into the eyes of Jesus or God, it's been in the eyes of a full grown man that can't communicate with words, can't do a damn thing for himself. He's not really retarded. He's trapped in a body that can't respond with words. He's not retarded because we caught him laughing at real adult shit nobody's talking to him about that he laughed at the punchline. Oh my God, Kevin, you're not retarded and you've been in the retard system all this time. I bathed that man, wipe his ass because he couldn't move his arms, touch his own joystick. When Brian O'Shea said he's got footage of a motherfucking flat earther parade and he drops that retard parade on you, that shit is money. You take that, what you focused in, what you harnessed in that moment, Brian O'Shea, you take that, you learn to summon it, to control it, and you take that to any stage, baby. And if they turn you away, that's still a win. As long as you know it's that level of money that you brought. Because newsflash, far leftists, pleh, pleh. Wait, what do you mean this zoomer? Sorry, I haven't been looking at the phone when I got all like when I get going like that, guys, my arm naturally starts to hold the phone to my head like a phone call because from being a manager for various companies and industries and various manager levels of hell, I'm no stranger to getting that with the phone muscle memory. It takes me there. So this zoomer is a man, Tom. Who are you talking about, Rob? Because age and testicles never guarantee man. And I don't have any proof of that yet all my haters and enemies would totally agree. Everyone in the world fucking agrees with me in this one statement. Uh, changed my mind. Me sitting at a table at college, sipping a coffee. Penis and age does not guarantee man. Changed my mind. I'll be the loneliest change my mind table ever. Like people just walk by, like, nah, spot on. Hold on, I missed the name. My bad. What was the name?
Brian Ocott.
He's not talking about Brian O'Shea. O'Shea?
I think so.
O'Shea?
O'Shea, yeah.
I'm gonna just check it myself. I forgot. I'm getting high now. Oh, he is referencing back to when I said I'd just call Zoomers for their 45. Yeah, I know Brian O'Shea is like, that's another way Brian O'Shea has caught the heat burns from me. Is letting the internet know he's like, Jesus, Brian, I've told the internet I used to do meth. I've told the internet gay man I was friends with almost Bill Cosby'd me. I would not tell the internet I'm 56 or whatever the fuck he is. Whatever he said that day, I was like, ooh. Like, you remember whenever there was the fake doctor or surgeon that was taking the newsstand for the desert floor fishing thing you use on the end of the line, the thing that was on the map on the Batman movie. When he was up talking the obvious bullshit with the most ridiculous lab coat attempt for legitimacy, he said something that every state cop in the line behind him all did the like, ooh reaction, like, stupid motherfucker saying that. Yeah, man. I think people died at desert floor fishing tool thing, but that was definitely the FF, the false wavy country representation. I'm just coding for fun, people. You better get used to this. It's your future. That was an FF, and that was definitely for anyone who have eyes that can see. You had to be blind not to see that shit, people. And let me tell you something else. Gambling City hotel windows smashed out. Never saw muzzle flash from it once. And don't even tell me, like, I'm not even talking not just when you hear the pop, 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 pop from various directions. Never saw muzzle flash anytime in the footage, people. And the big one that got me, God, I love when I Benton on Benton's channel. You guys are at the mercy of our incessant rambling. But the one that got me is there was like a limo driver, right? He's posted up under like that rain canopy that any decent hotel is going to have at the door. He's under there running his cell phone camera, and you hear that vicinity, definitely overhead somewhere or close, like ba 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 ba. And then when those rounds are done, there's like a couple seconds, and then blocks away, you're hearing, and I was like, nope, that right there, that ain't no echo, nothing. That is another direct. That's another position taking its turn. It's, oh my god. And yes, that was either the hotel or the one across the street. I don't even care. Even if it was the same hotel and it sounded that overhead and close, still never saw muzzle flash coming from the fucking window. There was no suppressor or anything on the barrel of that gun. And I saw that gun because you don't get shot by anybody, whether they caught him off guard or whether he was ready for them. You don't get shot and then put a tripod rifle down over your leg because they barely stay up well without your armpit there aiming it. The bipod's just to help you steady and aim, but you don't just drop it and it lands perfectly like you would set it. And it's over top of the dead guy's leg like that. And this was just Facebook days. I didn't even have like communities like we're in to get way too crazy with shit I want to bring down to rationality. Here's another thing. And I'm sorry to these guys if they're listening or if any of the chat is listening from this place, but because I'll still go back, still respect, but the channel I found through the passing of Davy Crocco, the man that if I'm in your panel and you do any kind of hashtag stand up Davy shit, I'll give you the gun show. If you have me on your panel and you're dumb enough to say hashtag Davy stand up, I give you the gun show. All right? No hypocrisy about it, because that's public knowledge. The people I met through him, because they had this faint overlay of him in their thumbnail that I had to notice. It wasn't even prevalent enough to be part of the picture. It was like a homage they threw in. And because I was like mourning the short time I knew Davey because of what I realized he was into upon his passing, combined with the questionable passing that even to this day, nobody knows yet, got cremated real fast, people. That's I can let go of how fast he was cremated before the fucking viewing, but you combine that with nobody yet knows, even if it's embarrassing, man, it's not embarrassing. I'll never knock somebody for an embarrassing death. David Carradine was a bad motherfucker. He learned, I mean, he might have took some Bruce Lee job, but he was a good actor. I like him. Who cares what we're into? Told the Canadian Satanist or whatever, I'm not opposing fetishes. So these people, I show up, they're watching some 9/11 shit. I can always appreciate some 9/11 shit. Shout out to Brian from High Impact Flicks. In my opinion, he made the best, most definitive, most here's the facts and tell me you can call any of this bullshit. He did the best on 9/11 I've ever seen. And that's emphasized by he couldn't keep it on YouTube for very long at all. Like years ago, it had to be pulled off. And I think you can still watch it through his site, but hands down, best one I've ever seen. If you know of a better one, let me know. I'll check it out. Because here's what happened with the people that have my Davy nostalgia morning that we have bonded over. They're talking up the 9/11 thing that we're watching, and I start mentioning things as it's talking about stuff. I'm like, I definitely would have also included this detail once I was already talking about this. And then I guess the primary chick that made it, they give her a bunch of props and suck her off, talking about how good she is. And on one of her talking spots, talking portions, she straight up refers to the two towers that came down. And I was like, okay, right here's a red flag. I always say three towers for the motherfuckers you can still catch off guard when you bring up two planes, three towers. Leave the similar collapse of all three altogether. I like to use it. You don't even need it just off of two planes, three towers, steel beams, motherfuckers. Okay, so now I'm like, all right, guys, now she missed the three towers. And now I feel like they're hyping a lot of shit that seems to distract from the things I would be screaming in people's faces when they push shit that's like, yeah, you sound like a 9/11 that takes what I consider the wrong side of a shape debate. And it's because I've recently lost friends over saying things like, well, can we stop saying the globe theory? Like, it's been a long time. We've tried to be civil with people on a thing that they refuse constant proof of, and they'll even keep calling it theory just because they've never gotten in a pod and got shot up there themselves. And I'm not being passive aggressive, London. I see you down there. And all I'm saying in your case, bro, is if you go on to learn that electric shit that I told you I could help with, you're gonna reach electrical mathematical facts that if your brain allows you to not globe once you see how electric and the electromagnetic field around the earth and why we call the earth the ground and how that associates to the ground, you will know in electricity because it is the same thing. unless it's a device ground for something that doesn't touch the earth, like a handheld device that's powered right may require a device ground, which is just to protect the device if something goes wrong, it doesn't fry itself. Um, yeah, man, you'll have conflicting knowings, not belief of electricity. You'll have mathematical, factual, referenceable, um, equation solvable facts about how to measure, calculate, and know what that force is going to do. It's always trying to get back to the ground. Even if it's a battery where it jumps out of one side, runs the circuit of your device into the fucking other side, which is sometimes both going, you know, you'll understand when you get into it. I don't want to confuse the pleb. I'm just saying you will learn truthities that do not coincide with disc, and then you can come back and try and explain it to my good friend Austin, who I know was trying to go to bed for me tonight. I saw the will. He just almost got that shit deleted. He was reacting like they said hashtag stand up Davey. And I was like, no, Austin, my confidence is based on I knew what I was going to do with this footage the whole time. But he says he's going to leave it up. I trust him because he is that oblivious to what I got on him. He even sat and watched my video. And my video that was on tonight, that's not the news show. That's just a little meme fun to shut up people that keep saying, where's the news show? And that popsicle was delicious. When I show you guys a freezer full of popsicles as a single 43-year-old man, tell your kids, I don't know them. Like when they like that dude balling, like, I don't know who your kids are. You tell them this baller popsicle freezer guy. Now, if you live around my barrio, and I feel for what your child ass has to, maybe that child doesn't even know what it lives around. If I hear a modest number of kids outside, I'll go out and count them. Maybe take them some popsicles on my way through. But none of them right now were here when I had to Rick Grimes my fucking ghetto ass barrio shit. It felt good to Rick Grimes though, because it was like a little dry run for if we do blackout in this country long enough that people get motivated to start kicking indoors and shit, considering what you see them motivated to do now in broad daylight. If nobody's seen it, you'll love this, Benton. I'm going to sidetrack off of whatever the fuck I'm getting into. I just saw this footage. It's the type of real news I'll cover on the fake news, making my fake news probably better news than real news. Because anything that's real that I cover is like something that gets me off in the news. Like recently, a couple of young, healthy N-words followed an old Asian U.S. Marine all the way home. And once he was in his garage and shit doing whatever, and they got this really good shot of this happening, including the rear Tesla cam in his garage that was almost like it cuts their heads off, but you see enough, especially considering they run away and you get the full shot of all three of them. This old ass Asian Marine immediately leaned into getting pepper sprayed by two N-words that followed him home to try and steal his car or whatever they could get. He still ran them off with a face full of anti-rape attack for women, that two N-word males that are like basketball physique at minimum. Let's follow an old man home and exploit him. And they weren't wearing rags. They were wearing clean ass shit that I don't bother paying for because there's no reason to floss with clothes. Buy clothes you like, people. And by all means, don't let your woman or don't date a woman that does this shit where they buy stuff to be seen in once and then they can never get caught wearing it two times. That would be a daffy fucking cunt thing to do. with third world countries spewing out fabric and labor, and you only want to wear it once and throw it away, and you think saving aluminum cans and going a little solar is enough when you're just going to wear clothes once over and over again, that's almost worse than like half our garbage problem. God damn, that fucking popsicle is good. You guys want a little clue because I'll give it to you being in foreign cities? Because I've told people this in Denver and they go beat me to them and fuck me out of it because they're so fucking good. You check on your any type of dollar store. I've seen them in Dollar Tree and I've seen them in dollar store that looks like the family dollar sign, but it's dollar store instead of family. What's that thick black sign with the yellow? Those are the two places I'm sure I've seen them, but they could be other dollar stores. They're popsicles made by the Weiler's brand that advertise being Italian ice popsicles. And there's something in them where they never completely ice hard freeze. It's like they stay freezing to a mushiness because it's Italian ice and whatever the significance is. But also the Weiler's brings that fruit juice percentage flavor. I'm telling you, people, every time I've told someone about them in passing, that closest one starts running out of them in the summer because I only see them getting them in the summer. And now I'm distraught because this is the latest I've ever seen. They usually get there early, and you don't send something early every summer and have to keep refilling it all summer. There's no company that would stop sending that. So I'm worried about why I don't see them yet this year. But if you see them, people, like two different box types, a green box and a pinkish box, like the regular, the tropical, either one, fucking delicious. Feels like a slightly hard 7-Eleven Slurpee almost every time. Just leave it freezing, doesn't matter. But fucking delicious. I substituted meal beverages with them. That's how good they are. You mean Benton's driving fast or I'm talking fast? Passion, sir. I'm also furiously scribbling at some of this video shit when I'm not taking this popsicle break. These popsicles are so fucking good that you wouldn't want to tie yourself up. Like, stop what you're doing. Like, enjoy the cigarette. No, this Dark Glasses Woody, I think you need to come up and we need to get into that thing you asked me about. I don't even remember what the term was. I forgot you were here. Benton got me going on my own Bentonness. You need to come up, DGW. Oh, that kind of rolls like the ECW chant. Uh-oh, you're getting memeable, sir. But come up and fucking... I don't know the thing you asked me what my opinion was, and I want to hear what it is because I know I can Google, but I want to do that human to human thing again. Like, what's up? Google your goddamn song you're asking about, but I don't know about an Earth concept that might have been a shape theory or something. Uh, but now you have to come up DGW because you're getting it backwards. This is like slush approval. And I don't even have nothing against the popsicles that will go solid ice hard if they have a quality flavor. But I'm saying pro slush in a popsicle. We might need to bring Z up so I can give him a baseline test. Make sure he's still understanding common English. We need a baseline test for beast system confusion, I think. Yeah, yeah. I was always a fan of the Blade Runner baseline test as it is, especially the new one with Gosling folk, the guy that like realized he didn't have to use lines anymore once he got certain level of dreamy to the ladies. Like, oh, I don't even have to speak lines. I just kind of stare for all my lines, and women wring out their fucking panties before they leave the theater. Yes, Monk. I used to, okay, in the time of the 17-year-old girl that I'm not the least bit apologetic for and only went damage control because YouTube and internet. That was convertible time for me. I'm gonna have to bring that picture up. I think I found the phone that has it. Yeah, you guys need to remember the fucking muscle picture. And then check this car out. I was I was in the prime of my life. I was not even at the success peak in my life, but I was more successful than I had ever been in my home area. Um, I was bouncing at the biggest nightclub in Colorado Springs on the Strip. It was 3 stories. Top story had a fucking bowling alley. Yes, dark glasses, Woody, good on the baseline test. Now, that's just damaging that you're not the fuck up here. We can go a little baseline talk when you get up here. Don't do this, Woody. I've seen you around. We're cool. You've been here since Benton was upcoming tonight. Um, you see me up here just kind of left to my own devices. Not that Benton has to talk, he has to drive. But if I could get somebody to bounce off of and then refocus more to the video. Um,
Well, real quick, let me know when Z goes live, Chad, if you would.
oh, Z should come the fuck up here too if he showed up.
Oh,
See,
is this
no,
Mitchell
that's
here?
not him. That's not him. And number
Not
one,
Mitchell.
sir, I appreciate your jest. I love it because I know that's not him because that motherfucker is hiding from me. So I'll interact with all his clones and I want all his clones to know that motherfucker's hiding from me. And I've even left comments on his post lives like, man, you just keep saying I'm one of your favorite. And stream after stream, I show up in type test chat and it doesn't show up. I try to go to the panel, it says I can't even backstage. That's some little dick hiding in plain sight stuff, people. And it's heavy because when he came back this time after deleting previous channel, I told him, dude, if you want to do this true neutral, get to the bottom of everything guy, I'm not doing that. I can help you do it because even though I'm running my game, I can tell you how to be true neutral host guy. And he acted like I wasn't shit in that department. And he started out and backed me a little bit against Snafu's bullshit. And I got a little too comfortable. And the first time Paul showed up, tried to get at me, and he ordered Yurt to do some fucking mod god shit. I went, oh no, Paul, those games and those days are up. And I was backstage, and I was like, what the fucking fuck? And then
Yeah,
Yurt
I
started,
remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and then Yurt started his campaign of, oh, Paul's more entertaining, Paul wins. Everyone knows Paul is the best debater. Nobody debates Paul better than Paul. Sad. Look at Tom thinking he won't get backstage. Look, he got backstage. Sad. God, for a guy that hates Orange Man so much, that dude, Orange Man's the fuck out of this community.
Hey, if somebody could drop Z's link, maybe Piano Man. Is Piano Man a mod? I'm gonna shut it down, Tom. We're all gonna head over and check out Z.
I know. How dare us put people through this, and goddamn them for showing up. Dark Glasses Woody, you got some explaining to do. Even though he's cutting it off, you had plenty of time to get up here. I'm confused. We'll talk about your thing. I can't type. I got arthritis in my thumb from all the years of smartphone typing now. It finally started. All right, see you later, Benton. You gotta go up on Z or just listen? Well, I'll probably just listen, right?
No, I gotta drive. Just driving.
Yeah, I had a lapse for a moment. All right, I'll
Yeah,
catch
it's
you
all
later.
good, man. Yeah, later. Thanks to Tom for being here. Yeah, if everybody wants to go check out Zetetic Warrior, I've been so focused on what I was doing, I completely did not even realize what time it was. Yeah, thanks. Piano Man just dropped the link down there. Uh, Much appreciated, sir. If y'all want to head that way, I'm going to shut her down. I got things to do. It's going to be a busy day for Mr. Benton. So thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Bye.